So let's start with the team news going into the derby. Liam Tyndall, any indication of how serious his knee is at the moment?
Yeah, we'll check him out in the next couple of days. He's had a bit of a problem with a bursa in his knee. He's never really had a problem with his knee before. In warm-up of the game last week, he felt a bursa. So yeah, a little bit different and a little bit unexpected, but it shouldn't be something too serious, but we'll check him out through the week.
From experience as a coach, could you timestamp how long do you think he could be out for, or is it quite complicated?
I'm a coach, I'm not a physio or a doctor, I'm afraid. Well, if his knee's feeling all right, he might play. If it's not feeling so good, he won't play.
Fair enough. Carlos didn't play a week ago, still under investigation on his hamstring. Any clarity now?
Yeah, it's not a good one. He's got a quite severe tear in his hamstring, so he's going to be many number of weeks. Yeah, it's not a great result for him. We're feeling for Carlos at the moment. It's a bit of a hard time for him. He's not long returned from some injury, and he's trying to get himself right. And we're feeling for him at the moment, and that's where it is, and we've got to understand that injuries do happen in our sport, and when they do, we try to take care of them.
Yeah, Franklin returns from suspension. Given the number of games he's had to sit through so far in terms of suspension, is there any difference in him around the place, given we're heading into round 6? He's had 4 games on the sidelines, I think it is, suspended.
Difference in terms of?
Just like his character, his management of, I guess, what he's taken on since coming over from Australia.
I suppose, the longer he's here, the more he understands the game here as well. But Frank's fine. Frank's, he wanted to be playing every game, and he's had a couple of misdemeanours, and one way more serious than another. Frank's been positive since he got here, and remains that way, and as we all do. It hasn't been ideal, but some things in life don't just fall that way, and that's a test of character. He's fine. He's got a good character, and he's worked his way through, and just like the rest of us are.
Liggy not suspended for the derby. Do you feel that was really a decision that was more common sense rather than anything else?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a sin bin, and there's still incidents in games that's all it should be, just sin bins. That's enough. It affects the outcomes of games. Sin bins, send-offs, sometimes that's enough. That doesn't mean people should get suspended on top of that. It's just we've gone too far with some of that. So was 10 minutes last week for what Liggy did appropriate? Yes, absolutely. Any more than that would have been crazy.
Obviously the season's still in its early stages, but do you feel those kinds of decisions and the severity of suspension, can you see that dumbing down anytime soon? Do you feel it's quite a high reaction first of all, and things will mellow out?
I'm hoping so. I think it has already. I think we've seen lesser severity in some of how people are being treated, I think. I think it has calmed down a little bit. I think it went from 0 to 100 too quick, and I think that was realised, and a few mistakes were made, and I think people have tried to correct them, and that's both on and off the field. Some of our indiscretions have been our own doing as well. So I think everybody's learned along the way, and you always do when you change systems. Yeah.
Anything new in terms of, are there any players ahead of schedule in the more longer terms, or players who've been out previously? Thinking about Joe Cater, Mitch, Brad Fash in particular?
Oh, no, yeah. Cater won't be too far away. He'll be in the next couple of weeks, I'd say. He's pretty much on track. Fash is on track, but he's on Ultra G today for the first time, so he'll be a number of weeks. Truman, about 5 weeks now, I think. He's running on the grass and running well. going through his bits on schedule. The other returnee this week is Ashworth. He's from his suspension. So when you mentioned Frank back from suspension, we've also got Ashworth back from Jack back available to us. So he'll come into the 21 this week. And, the good news for us this week, we didn't have any further judiciary's appearances and any suspension. So that's been, I think that's our second week this year that we haven't had somebody suspended. So, our luck's changed.
Yeah. Quick one on Demel, who's, we've been told, has been released by the club. Simply to go back to play rugby in France, was it a case that he wasn't looking like he was going to get his chance here? Yeah,
no, he needs to get some opportunity to play regularly. He was playing in our reserve grade, and that wasn't enough. For his development to improve enough. So it was. We would have liked to have got him out on loan somewhere, and maybe got him more regular rugby league, but that opportunity wasn't there in this country after we pursued it. So, we're thinking that the best for Darmel was to go back to France, and hopefully he'll either get him an opportunity over there with somebody, and we'll keep an eye on him for the future. But thank him for his efforts, and he thanked us for the opportunity to try and develop his rugby league, and I think it did to some degree, but not to the rate that probably was needed.
Okay. You've had a few days now, and you've had the opportunity to get out on the training ground and start to put some more rights into action after another heavy loss against Huddersfield. What key takeaways have you got to focus on going from that game? Because obviously it was a second week in a row where a half century has been chalked up against you. Yeah.
We've got to lift our players and lift their confidence and lift their work rate and lift their chins off the ground and, bottom lips. And it's hard. It's hard for them at the moment, and I'm not looking for sympathy. None of us are. We're going through a tough patch and not handling some of that so well at times. So it's just about picking yourself up and getting back together and pulling together and putting in those sort of efforts that you need as a squad to not have those sort of defeats and maybe even come out on the other side. We're looking forward to when that happens and gaining some confidence and putting a performance together that we're, proud of. So, we're working on all that.
Yeah. The reason I ask that is fans are seeing a correlation, obviously, of last season. You won your opening two last season, but then 7 games in a row with defeat. What's different about this season to stop that happening?
Every year's different. If there's a correlation, there's a correlation. I don't think there is. Each season's different with a new team and new faces and new beginnings and new endings. So, it won't end up the same, but it's good to look at all the theories and hear everybody's solutions and to the theories as well. So, but we'll just, one of the big solutions to any team that's struggling, with confidence is good old-fashioned hard work, and we'll stick to that.
Yep. So you're confident. What are the players like at the moment? What's their mood that they're giving you?
Yeah, it's hard. I don't, I keep saying it. I don't read social media, and but I'm, for young people not to read it nowadays, I'd be crazy to expect that. It's just part of society now. So, do they read it? Absolutely they do. Most I would say. There's a couple of what I would say sensible ones that don't. But it's just, how does it feel when somebody tells you that you're crap, or you're not so good at things? How do you feel? You feel low on confidence. Now, you either use that as a motivator, or sometimes some people believe it and go that way. So it's difficult. It's difficult for them, But it's a choice thing. It is a choice. It's a choice whether to read it in the first place, but it's a choice whether to believe it, and it's a choice whether you're going to do something about it. So they're all choices that we have. So, we're hoping to make more of the right choices soon.
And when you say those right choices, is it easier to pick a team up who may be low of confidence, or is it easy to maybe tweak things tactically for your benefit? Not suggesting that you should with that question.
No, always consider all those things, whatever it takes. So yeah, all those things are considered each and every week, whether we're winning well or not winning well. All those things are considered, in order to get your team in the best frame of mind.
As an experienced coach, where does this situation rank in terms of difficulty in picking the team back up again to start putting W's next to your name?
Yeah, they're all different. No matter where you are and which club you're in, they're unique. They're unique circumstances. So I don't compare. I don't compare which is the hardest time, best time, worst time. I know you guys love working in those sort of extremes. It's just, this is life in rugby league, and sometimes it's tough, and if you're not tough enough, you don't get through it, and you don't work hard enough to get through it, and you don't come out the other side. Pretty similar principles to most parts of life as well, but we'll just keep working hard, and we'll do the ranking and of how hard that was when we get through, and we'll sit down and have a coffee about all that in 10 years' time and reminisce. In the meantime, we'll stick with just ploughing on through and working hard and getting our confidence back, and and building our performances back up to a level that we need to get at, and that's what we're focusing on, rather than wallowing in journalistic pessimism. It is.
Well, in that case then, Tony, how long is the project in terms of turning things round? Because supporters won't want to come each week and see the team get beat.
Yeah, and that's a choice thing too, and I totally understand that. Can't tell you. There's no exact science. I'd love to be able to say this week. We'll be trying this week, and I'll say if it's not this week, it'll be the week afterwards, and if it's not the week after, we'll keep trying hard and working hard, and when it turns around, it'll turn around. If I gave an answer to that question, I'd be a liar, because I don't know. Nobody knows until it happens.
So has there been any development then in the case of the people above you, say, the hierarchy? Have they changed anything in terms of conversation? You said before that you speak to them quite regularly. What are they saying to you that gives you confidence that the wins are going to start materialising?
Crack on. Do your job that you're brought in to do, and that's what I'm doing. Okay. And they're good with that. They know it's a project, and they know it was not going to happen overnight. Unfortunately, some people out there might want it to happen overnight. It's not always possible. Some of their understanding of those situations, or maybe they've been in really tough situations and been able to, do the change around really quickly. And I'm always open to those sort of experiences where people have changed fortunes very quickly about their situations when it's not so good. But most of us have to work hard to get through them, and that's what we'll stick with until I hear some of the better stories.
You could write a really good story if you win this match on Good Friday in the derby. First of all, how confident are you and the players from the previous encounter? Have you got a lot of things that you can take from that game which give you confidence that you're not too far away?
Yeah, there were some things we did all right, in that last game. We don't really refer back to last experiences too much. It's where we're at the moment and what we need to do at the moment in order to compete and hopefully get the result. That's where we're at the moment. So, I don't know that referring back to last game and some of what happened in last game is going to be too much of a reference. We understand they're playing well, and we understand that we're not playing well enough at the moment. Can that change around in sport? Absolutely it can. Can change around in a week, and we're hoping so. We're training that way, we're working that way, but there's no guarantees to that.
And derbies do magical things. Is this the perfect fixture off the back of two heavy defeats?
Well, it's an opportunity, isn't it? You know, it's an opportunity to go out there and get 2 points again. You know, same as last week, same sort of outcomes of if you perform well, you can pick up 2 points. So, you know, it is a derby. We understand how important it is in terms of living in this city, the bragging rights. We'd love our supporters to get those bragging rights, and we understand all that. But we've just got to get about doing our job properly and our jobs properly and focus on doing them the best we can and working hard together again. And that's been tested in the last couple of weeks. So we need to get back to basics, and hopefully we can do that this week.
Appreciate your time, Tony.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
No worries.
Cheers.
Hi, Tierney. Friday's reserve game, Harvey went down. It looked like he took a nasty bang to the head. Is he all right?
No, he had a fracture to his forehead. I can't give you the exact what it's called, but he's got an indentation in the front of his skull, really. He's been to see the specialist today, or the consultant, and he's got about a 6-week recovery from that. But it's a crack to his skull, basically, an indentation in his skull. And after 6 weeks, he can resume contact, but until then, no contact. So he's, you know, for instance, today he was back doing some bike, you know, and he did 15 minutes on bike in order to overcome his HIA requirements, but he won't be physically ready for about 6 weeks.
Another couple of young fellas, Kai and Kobe. I understand Kobe's back on grass now and Kai's not too far away, so what are your thoughts on them two?
Yeah, listen, Kobe's 9 months is around August or something, so we're talking a while yet, you know, or it's not far off that. It might be a little sooner, but he's back end of season, Cobes. He's a great kid, and it's great that he's back running and you know, feeling like he's getting there. That kid's had a really good outlook all the way through, really, since he's done his knee. So I'm not surprised he's having a good recovery. And Kai's not too far off. Yeah, Kai's participating in most parts of training now. We've had to be careful a little bit with contact, as it's a shoulder, and not have full whack. But he's not far off it now, so he'll be back over the next few weeks, I'd presume.
In terms of adding to your squad to well going, you have dipped into the loan market already with Matty Russell and Joe Bullock. Is there any scope or potential for any more coming in the future? Or are you happy with what you got?
I won't say that we won't continue to look, and if necessary, go that way. I won't say that we wouldn't do that, but getting a couple back and not getting any further suspensions has helped us this week. We just, you know, we feel like we're putting a couple of our boys back in the squad. It's good, and gives you a couple of more choices to make in terms of selections, which you always want as a coach. You want to be able to have selection issues in terms of who you'd rather have out of a number of people. So good to have a few choices. That hasn't been the case so much this year. You know, where we've pretty much, you know, had to go with what we've had available at most stages, and you know that's not the ideal.
Is that the case, not just in terms of middles, obviously with Franklin and Jack, but in terms of span positions as well? There's some choices for you?
There's a bit of that. Yeah, there's a bit of that. And, you know, as I said, we've had a few more injuries than we would have liked. We've had a few more suspensions than we would have liked. But it is what it is, you know, and you've got to crack on with it, and you've got to make the most of it, and you've got to pull together when it is tough. And, you know, that's that's some of what we're doing at the moment, and it's hard sometimes to do that, and it's hard to do it confidently sometimes, and it's hard for the players. It's for them to get confidence when you're changing combinations and you're changing positions and you're changing personnel. But it is what it is, and you've got to learn to cope with that. That's the challenges of Super League. So they've had a good attitude with all that. It's been hard, and it's a bit of a shell shock for them, and a big defeat can dent the confidence, and it did. It really did. And an early, we've been conceding early in games. I think has been a big contributor too. First few minutes of a game when players are going out there with a will to change, their luck but not being able to sustain that for more than a few minutes, and that becomes a bit alarming. And for them, it can dent your confidence and ability to do things about it in the right way. But we're learning some of that. And learning the hard way.
Last week you used disconnection. You said you weren't connected up as a team.
Sorry.
You're all right.
Sorry.
So last week you spoke about not being connected up as a team, particularly in attack. I mean, we've talked about the effort-based fundamentals, what you need to do. But what are the skill ones in terms of timings and passes and things like that? Timings of lines and things like that.
Yeah. Practice, more hard work, more practice, and be positive about it, and take your chances when they arise, and don't be afraid to. Sometimes when you are lacking confidence, you're afraid to have a go at certain things, and you play within yourself. Or, some of our boys are trying really hard in their own ways. When they've got the ball, they run really hard, but they may miss an opportunity because. They're not watching and seeing other things or listening to the people around them sometimes. And that's what happens when you can try to solve things by yourself rather than collectively. And I think, we're guilty of that at times. That's getting to know one another as well as, different combinations coming in. We've had certain players in and certain players missing and certain players in different positions, and for all sorts of reasons, whether that's suspension or injuries. But, we've got to learn those things quickly, and even more quickly. It's harder when you're getting beaten like that because you're not doing it on the front foot, you're doing it on the back foot. But sometimes that's just how you got to learn.
The message there to stick to systems as a unit then to get the performances and the results you need. Whereas if they do it individually, then the same thing will continue. Yeah,
of course. In team sports, if you're not doing it collectively and together and with great communication, that's the key to it. But it's the hardest thing to get right when you're not confident and you're not, on your game. Finding the right things to say at the right times is always the hardest when you're under pressure. Absolutely. It's the hardest thing to solve, but they're the problems. We've got to come up with the solutions, and that's what we're doing at the moment.
So another trip to Craven Park, won there last year against the grain as well, because obviously they was favourites, they was flying at the time. So I suppose it's that old cliche. I'm asking you the derby, anything can happen.
Yeah, it can.
You off, but you can go there and.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're hoping so. They're in great form. We're not in great form. They're favourites. We're underdogs. Everybody will tell us that we can't win there this week. They might be right. We've got to believe that we can go there and win this week, and who knows, we might be right. So it's down to the two teams and on the day and how they perform, and hopefully we can get the performance we're after and upset the apple cart, and that's what it'd be. It'd be an upset at the moment, for sure. We totally understand that, but it can happen. It's happened before in plenty of derby games and plenty of other matches throughout Super League as well. So it's a good opportunity to go out and get our game together.
There's belief internally there. If you've got the right attitude, that's what will happen.
Yeah, I think so. As I said, being honest with you is about confidence, and has it been down? Yeah, it has. But at some stage, whenever your confidence is down, you've got to go, right, let's dig in and work harder, and let's do something about this. And no better week to do that.
Spot on. Cheers, Tony.
My pleasure.
Just a few from me, Tony.
No worries.
You've talked about the confidence in the squad. You've got a young squad as well. Excuse me.
All right.
How hard is it to pick them up? Because they can take defeats. You can take defeats a lot harder and knockbacks a lot harder when you're younger, can't you?
Well, you're gaining experience when you're young, for sure, and you become a bit more battle hardened as you experience more things in life. Whether that's rugby league or coaching or anything else that you do in life. The more you've been around, you've usually experienced, and you work out how to get through those tough periods. And yeah, we are young. We are a young team, and we've been missing a couple of our more senior players at times too, which makes it hard. It makes it hard for the young guys not to have some of that experience around them to help. But once again, that's the problem. The solution's up to us, and you're right. We recognise some of those things. We're trying to rectify all those things as quickly as we can. We're not necessarily trying to give our young people bad experiences in order to learn from. However, they're copping a few of those, and it'll be good learning for them.
And there's no better way to build their confidence than going to the other side and beating them in their own backyard.
That'd be nice. And when you say it quickly, it's very easy. We know that we're going to have to go over there and do a whole lot of things right, and perform well, because they're doing a whole lot of things right. They're playing well, and deserve all the accolades that they're receiving at the moment. But they've done that through hard work and some consistent rugby league, and they deserve all the plaudits they get. Now, are we envious of that, or would we like to emulate that? Absolutely we would, but we're not there yet. But hopefully, and as in sports shows, sometimes the underdog can overturn it, and we're certainly not giving up hope that we can't go and overturn a good team.
You just touched on it there. Is it a little bit of seeing what they're doing and wanting to copy that, and seeing they're doing it, they found a way of success, and you need to find that way as well?
I'm not sure that you go and try and copy it. I'm not sure. I think every club's got its own way of doing things, and own culture and own way of history as well, that plays a big part in your culture as well. So I'm not sure that we're trying to copy. Do we want to have success and build a team that's consistent in performances like they are at the moment? Absolutely. They'll do it their way and with the players that they've got that suits them, and we've got to do it with the way that suits us as well. It's matching your culture to your history, and your history to your culture, and as well as to your assets. And when the style of play is dependent on the players that you've got too. And we've got to play to what our best assets are, and it's all very unique, I think, to each club. But they found their way of playing very well.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.